My son was 4 years old.
In a beginner's gymnastics class, and he could not stay in the line. Not would not, could not. While the other 4-year-old sat waiting, he was in his own orbit, at the edge of the gym, arms out, completely joyful, waving at me every time he came around. And that's when another parent walked over to me and said that my son did not belong there, and he was taking away time from others in the class, that he should be in a different class or on his own. I'm a family doctor, 20 years of hard conversations, of knowing what to say, and I stood there and said nothing. Gobsmacked. They were all 4 and 5 years old. He was not holding back Olympians. It took me years to find the answer I needed that day. It turned out to be a number. Because what everyone in that gym believed, including me back then, a 4-year-old should act 4 and a 12-year-old should act 12. But in kids with ADHD, the birthday is the wrong number. The self-regulation system, the part that waits, starts, stops, and stands in lines, runs about 30% behind the candles on the cake. I've been the doctor explaining this to other parents, and the mom in that gym doing the math. Just too late. Today, what the 30% rule actually is, why the lowered bar is secretly the faster one, and what I should have said to that parent and how this impacts your own home tonight. Dr. Russell Barkley explains it best. Children with ADHD run about 30% behind their age in executive development. 30%. It is a rule of thumb, not a lab value, but it is one of the most useful rules of thumb in all of parenting. So your 12-year-old is executively somewhere around 8 or 9. Your 16-year-old, mine for instance, is running the self-management system of an 11 or 12-year-old. If we take this back to my 4-year-old in gymnastics in that line, developmentally he was a 3-year-old being asked to sit still, follow group instruction, and wait his turn. Have you ever asked a 3-year-old to wait his turn? Executive age is not intelligence. Vocabulary, facts, reasoning, all of it tracks his real age, often ahead of it. What runs behind is the control center, the part of the brain we called the foreman in the last video. That's starting, stopping, waiting, holding the plan, and feeling time. The control center develops about 30% slower than the knowledge. Knowing and doing are 2 different skills. So when your 12-year-old debates you like a trial lawyer and then melts down because he can't find his socks and he's late for the school bus, you are watching a 9-year-old's control center in a 12-year-old's body. Both of those are his real age. One is his knowledge age, and the other is his control center age. Now you understand the 30% gap. Does it explain your child too? This moment was sobering for me because I realized that I was expecting my kid to behave like the age he was meant to be, not the age of the control center in his brain. And it got uncomfortable being honest with myself because the obvious fix felt like giving up. When I first heard, expect less of him, everything in me bristled. Lower the bar? He'll never learn. The world will not lower its bar for him. If that's what you're thinking right now, it's a very reasonable thought. But watch what happens at each height of the bar. Set expectations at the birthday age, and he fails at them daily, publicly, predictably. And what does a child learn from 400 failed attempts? Not the skill. He reinforces the voice that says, I am the kid who cannot. Set the same expectations at his executive age, and he succeeds at them. And successful repetitions are the only ones that build the skill. Not lectures, not consequences, not the fourth explanation. Repetitions. Completed, successful, unassuming little repetitions. So the lowered bar isn't failure. It's the bar he can actually train on. We don't hand the 9-year-old the 12-year-old's expectation and call it ambition. You give him the expectation he can meet, and he gets more capable. Right-sized expectations are how he catches up. The checklist stayed on the wall at 12 years old. Whatever the books said he should have outgrown at 9, because kids don't read parenting books, in one specific way, that 12-year-old was still 9 years old. Once you see these numbers, things fall into place. You realize why what happened at the gym happened. The adults around your child are doing the same math, with the wrong number. At gymnastics that day, the instructor, to her credit, was patient. Redirect, redirect, redirect. The other 4-year-olds did not care at all. They were 4 and 5, self-assured the way only kids at that age can be. The judgment came from the adults. Other parents, other grandparents, judging my 4-year-old and my parenting. And it wasn't the only time. 2 years later, my son started Taekwondo. Different sport, different building, different year. Same parent. Different face, same sentence. He's disruptive, he doesn't belong, he's taking something from other children. And do you know what my brave, eloquent response was? Nothing. Again. The physician who can deliver a cancer diagnosis with steady hands could not find the one sentence for a parent at a Taekwondo class. Because this right here was the most draining part of raising a complex kid. Not the morning struggles, not the homework battle, not the teacher's 12th email. It's standing helplessly on the outside while other adults label your child as the outsider, while he's right there, waving at you from his happiest moments. If it's you standing in the gym next week, let me give you the words that have taken up space in my head for the last 12 years, so you can be more eloquent than I was. My kid is 4. His self-control is running about a year behind his feet, which means he's doing exactly what his development looks like. If this is making you uncomfortable, maybe looking away is a better option for you. You could probably stop before the last part, but I probably wouldn't. That response is not really for the other parent. It is for you. Because once you know the why, their judgment stops landing, and so does the quieter one in your own head. So how does this number translate into practical tools in your own home? Think about the 3 biggest repetitive fights in your home with your ADHD kid. In our home, it was homework starts, morning launch, and switching off screens. Once you've picked your 3, recompute the expectation for each one at executive age. Why can't my 12-year-old get himself out the door? Becomes, would I expect this from a 9-year-old, unassisted? No. I'd walk a 9-year-old through it. So walk him through it, without the judgy commentary, because he isn't failing at 12. He is succeeding at 9. Next, build supports that fit the executive age, not the birthday age. Ignore the parenting books that tell you what your kid should have outgrown by whatever age. It's irrelevant, and it sets you both up for disappointment. The card with the 3 steps, the clock he can see, the checklist by the door, That's not babying a 12-year-old. That's equipping a 9-year-old, setting him up for success. A 9-year-old with the right equipment becomes a 16-year-old who still uses it. My child does, because success fuels growth, and growth fuels success. If you want somewhere to start, the free home map printable is on the site, and it is built for exactly this, your child's 3 hardest moments, and for each one, where, when, and which scaffold to use for support. One page, the link is below. Third, and critically, let the number reframe his social world. My 16-year-old's best friend in the world is his 12-year-old sibling. Because we're basically the same age, he told me once. 16 times 70%. He's not wrong. Find activities that fit your kid. Don't make your kid fit spaces that won't embrace his neurodiversity. My son struggled in team sports pitched at his birthday age. He thrived in figure skating and one-on-one badminton, sports that didn't need a boardroom's worth of group regulation. And he found his people, among other neurodivergent kids who run on the same clock. That is not settling. That is a child finding his tribe. I know that school will not always resize its demands, and we cannot pretend it will. When the bar can't move, the support has to. That is the IEP conversation, and fortunately, there is a whole video on this channel about getting it in writing. Here's the whole thing, in one breath. Our kids are not behaving like brats. They are literally acting their age. The age of their control center, not the candles on their cakes. So do the math. Then parent the child in front of you, not the one the parenting books say you should have. The rule, 30% behind, in the control center, never in the knowledge bank. The bar, set it at the control age, not at the birthday age. The judgment, it comes from adults using the wrong number. And now you have the right one. And the sentence to go with it. At home, pick your 3 fights. Match the supports to their development and let them find their real age matches. Which brings me back to a 4-year-old. Spinning at the edge of a gym, I stood at that window thinking something was going wrong. But I was wrong. He was precisely on schedule. His schedule. The only person in that gym who needed a different class was the adult who thought childhood ran on their clock. My son was always acting his age, just not his birthday. If you haven't seen it yet, the knowing versus doing video is the other half of this video. It's where the knowledge and the control center live. And next time, the sleep video, the one no one makes honestly, because the control center clocks out at night too. And we haven't napped in this house since 2010. Everything here is for informational purposes only and isn't a substitute for care from your own physician. You already knew that.